Where's the music? Here's what I'm drinking. There's no Travis. Where's the music? Travis Cody Johnson. Where is the music?
What music?
Sean Michelle.
I got music going on in my head.
No, but that's not real.
Change his thing.
This is worse.
Well, Clint,
than Flowers by Miley Cyrus and putting on the opening.
We're not got music right now because we got to tell the people we got a guest.
Man, and every time we have an interview, we have a guest, we say this is the best one ever.
And this is the best one ever.
This one is, in fact,
that's right,
the best one ever.
We have none other than we'll say projected. He hasn't started yet.
Starting,
but everybody says he's going to be it. Fernando Carmona Jr. You can call him Fernando. You can call him Jr. That's all right. You can call him double. I had a hard
time calling him Jr. I had to call him Fernando.
Yeah. But transfer in from San Jose State, originally from Vegas. We talk about all those things. Folks, listen. One of our goals in doing these interviews with these people is so for us and for you to know who we're rooting for underneath that helmet. Okay. And I promise you, watch this interview. You will root for this guy. He's going to be quickly a fan favorite. He's going to be a media favorite because he's going to be a guy. He's well-spoken. He'll be a guy the media goes to for quotes because he can carry on a conversation very well. And I'm excited to see him on the field, man.
I am too.
Watched some highlights and then hearing him talk about what's going on. He gives some insight to what the team's looking like. I'm ready.
Yeah, and I have nothing but good things to say about this young man. And I would like to thank Robert Branscombe and the entire gang at Hometown Roofing, Chad Stevenson, Cammie, everyone that they have over there for being a sponsor. If you're up in Northwest Arkansas or anywhere in the state of Arkansas, they can come take care of you. Their number, Hometown Roofing, is 501-581-7235. They're also online at hrroofer.com.
That's right. Check them out and listen, folks.
Was that good enough, Robert? Let my family go. I'm joking. I'm joking.
All right, folks, enjoy this great interview with Fernando Carmona Jr. Let's start the show.
1, 2, 3, 4. You ever seen a lame man walk? Ever heard a dumb man talk? Ever seen a blind man see? I promise you will change his thing. Ever seen a cancer dead? Ever seen all the poor get fed? Ever seen a prisoner set free? I promise you will change his thing.
What's up, everybody? How you doing? This is your boy, Bigger T. I'm here with my man, Clint Clark. Clint, how you? Oh, never mind. We got a guest. Hey, we got a guest, guys. And listen, we're excited to have this man. We've been watching some interviews from him. He's a transfer in, Fernando Carmona Jr.
Yes, sir.
Do you go by Fernando? Do you go by Junior? Do you go by?
I just go by Junior, man.
Junior. All right. I like that. I like that. Well, good, man. Dude, it is so awesome having you on here. And Clint, we got another lineman, man.
I know. It's amazing how that works out. We're good at getting the linemen on.
They're the smartest guys. They're usually the best talkers.
The smartest, best looking.
That's right.
Athletic.
They're the one the ladies are always want. So that's
it all.
That's right.
100%. Yeah.
Well, Fernando, seriously, man, thanks for coming on here and being a part of this nut house that we call the Big C Bigger T podcast.
Thanks for having me.
One of the things we do, Fernando, we was telling you about a little bit ago, we start with a holy shnikes moment, usually. This is something that's happened that we just go, holy shnikes, did that happen?
Yeah.
Clint, you have one for us today. I don't know what it is.
It's actually your fault because I'm I mean, I can't call you Junior. I just can't do it. So I'm
It's all
Fred.
good. Doesn't matter.
So Travis got me turned on to the television show Alone.
Okay.
If you're not familiar with it, they just dump a bunch of buttholes out in the middle of nowhere and says, live if you can.
Okay.
Basically, you know, and that's pretty much, that sums up the show.
Yeah.
So that one guy was walking through the woods. He's from Missouri, and he stabbed himself in the leg with an arrow. And
a broadhead too. Like
I mean, it was.
I think it had 2 blades on it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like really nasty. He ended up having to leave the competition for it. So my question is, how I'm going to segue this. First off, the dude stabbed himself in the leg with an arrow.
Yeah.
So if all the offensive linemen, if they dumped y'all out in the middle of the woods and y'all had to fend for yourselves, who would be the first one to say, you know what, I'm going home? And who would be
There's bears in these woods.
Bears in these woods, you know, and who would make it the longest? I'll be honest with you, me, Travis, we agreed of all my friends, I'd be the first one out. I would. There was a guy in season 2 that got off the plane and goes, "There's bear poop. I'm going home." That would have been me.
I might fit into that category, actually. I think it's going to be a close competition between me and then probably Keyshawn Blackstock. I cannot see Keyshawn living out in the wilderness for more than 24 hours. No way.
All right, who would last the longest
out there?
See, this is where it's hard because we had some hunters. We got some country boys on the team. But I think I'd have faith in Addison. He's a Boy Scout, so he kind of knows how to like fire. You know what I'm saying? He has all the survival skills.
That's right, yeah.
I just never learned when I was younger. So I'd probably give it to Addison.
He probably could make rope out of tree limbs and
right. He'll be able to survive out there for months. And
gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know. Well,
yeah, no, I mean,
what other show asks you questions like that?
I don't know.
That's how we start right here.
Kind of scared of where this was going. I was like, I don't know what he's about to ask.
Oh, it gets scarier from there, brother.
Yeah,
no, I'm just joking.
It's scary, but no, I was thinking like, you know, because listen, I don't know who would win amongst my 3 best friends, but I know I would not win.
Yeah,
because I'd be like, can I take a cooler full of Lunchables? And the answer would be no. I'm like, where's my phone at?
That's where you lose me. I need my phone and food. The 2
I'm like a teenage girl at the mall with my phone. I'm just like,
Well, Junior, Fernando, you grew up in Vegas, right?
Yes, sir.
What was it like growing up in Vegas? Tell us about your family a little bit and just kind of your childhood, what it was like there.
Growing up in Vegas, man, people always think that I live in a casino. That's all just dismiss that right now. I do not live in a casino, but I lived in the suburbs. My dad was a high school football coach. And so most of my life growing up, I was just kind of with him at practice, around football, around the boys, just kind of around the locker room and just kind of learning kind of football at a young age. But like I was never really into it. I always kind of was like, I want to be the basketball guy and I'll leave the football to my brother and my dad. And I somehow, when I was about 17, caught the bug for football, and my junior year of high school, it kind of all took off from there.
Yeah. So you only played 2 years of high school, correct?
Technically really 1. My senior year was COVID. So I only played my junior year. And even that year, I kind of got hurt a little bit. I hurt my shoulder, and I only played 7 games. So I didn't really play that much football going into college.
And now you weren't a tackle. You were a tight end.
No, I was a tight end, man. I was living the dream of every big guy. You know? Like I told somebody before I even started playing football, I was like, I'll never move to offensive line. Like I'll never do that. I would quit football before I moved to offensive line. And lo and behold, 3 years later, I'm on the line, but it was
never say never, huh?
Right.
Now you played basketball, right? What position did you play there? I'm guessing in the post.
Yeah, they called me a center. I kind of seen myself as like a Draymond. I couldn't really shoot the ball that well. My offense was pretty mid. I couldn't really jump that high, but I just was all hustle. I really bullied people. And that's kind of when people were like, dude, you need to switch over to football, because I would just hack people. I did some dirty stuff, and they're like, you're in the wrong sport.
Yeah.
That's what
go over there. Go to that big green field where it's legal.
No, exactly. It was always that.
Yeah.
So did you graduate high school in Vegas?
Correct.
Okay, I'm making sure I did. So what was what kind of schools did y'all play? Did y'all focus mostly playing other Vegas schools, or did you get out into Nevada much at all?
Yeah, so we always had one game a year where we'd like go out. So we actually played in Colorado. We played
Okay.
I couldn't even tell you the team's name now, which is kind of bad. But it was really cool. We kind of went out. We actually got to see Air Force's facilities and all that good jazz. And then after that, you just play a bunch of Vegas teams. I never once played the big Gorman school, the big Vegas like powerhouse. So that was kind of sucky. I kind of wish I kind of got a chance to play against the best, but
Yeah.
we kind of just played some mediocre teams. We weren't really any good football. It was just kind of a bunch of kids out there just having fun.
Yeah.
So when did you start getting attention? Because if you only played really your junior year and you did you go to some camps and stuff to kind of get some attention for football or what happened there?
I mean, right as like it was like camp season was right as COVID started. So it was like junior year of football ended, kind of COVID started going around. And then right as camp season, I was about to go to all these different camps. They shut them all down because of COVID. So I basically kind of got looked at through Twitter. I kind of just started working out. And a lot of coaches, like when they would say that they offered me, they'd be like, yeah, we just kind of watched your basketball film. We like the way that you move on the basketball court.
Mhm.
I'll gain 60 pounds, move to the offensive line. Let's see what you could do. So that's kind of how the conversations usually went. They're like, yeah, we like how you do all these wide receiver drills on Twitter, but you're not a tight end.
Yeah. So you
So
end
what,
up at
what did they see in you that they thought, okay, we can take this tight end basketball player and we can move him to the offensive line? I mean, I mean, because that seems kind of, I know it
Outlandish.
happened, but it seems far fetched to just a
No,
normal guy.
100%. I agree. And I, till this day, I've kind of, when I reflect on it, I'm just like, I don't even know how that even happened. I'm just blessed for the opportunity. But it was really only like one guy that kind of went all in on it. And that was my coach back at San Jose, Josh Oglesby. Because a bunch of other coaches kind of talked about it, but I think people were scared that I wouldn't be able to gain the weight. And honestly, what he just said was he liked my feet from basketball. He liked the way I moved. He was just like, I could figure out a way to make him angry on the field. Like the rest will be history. And that's actually what happened.
so you end up at San Jose State, correct?
Correct.
And of course, I guess in Clint's question there, probably one of the things, a lot of the offensive linemen weren't the 330 pounders you're going to see in the SEC. Were there? Were they? Were there a lot of big guys like that, or were a lot of
Yeah,
them in the 280 to 300 range?
on the 280 to 300. When I got there, we actually had a really good, strong left tackle, and he was about like 315, 320. So I was blessed to have a really good mentor. He
Mhm.
ended up getting picked up by some practice squads and then went to the UFL or the XFL for a few years. But so I kind of had him to kind of like look at. And that's just kind of how I just try to base everything off of. I was like, let me just kind of be like him. And if I get somewhere near his ability, I'll be just fine.
What was the most challenging thing switching from tight end to offensive line for you?
I think just physicality. Because I think as a tight end, like you kind of get some of that physicality, but like you're still like that wide receiver and you don't really want to be like you want to be that pretty boy, so to say. And so
Well,
just
when
kind of
you're running routes, you're trying to get away from the guy, and on offensive
right,
line, you're trying to
hit the
swallow
guy.
him up.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of just changing that
Yeah.
mindset is the biggest thing. And that's kind of what I struggled with my first few years was just having confidence and then just going out there and kind of being aggressive, being mean. And so my coach really was able to pull that out of me, thank God, because I don't know. He just found a way.
Well, watching some of your highlights, I would say he did a good job because
Yeah.
the thing I saw was a physical dude out there.
Appreciate that.
I
Thank
mean,
you.
that's definitely something that I think you're gonna bring to this team that the coaches have to love. Okay, they have to love it. So you're at San Jose State. You're there for 3 years, correct? You redshirted, then
Played
played 2.
correct. And yeah, so that freshman year was just putting on as much weight as possible.
Mm.
I won't say it was good weight. It was a lot of Ben and Jerry's, a lot of Panda,
Yeah.
and yeah, put on a bunch of weight really fast just so I could kind of just compete a little bit. And then I knew my next year I was going to be the starter because starting left tackle was leaving. And so I just kind of got mentally prepared and just tried to make myself better each and every day I practice.
And y'all had some pretty good rushing attacks there. It
Yeah.
seemed like you put up some good stats there. And of course you had some good stats all around. It's one of the reasons you ended up, of course, coming to the SEC. But tell us
100%.
what it was like playing in that league at San Jose State, playing against the competition you played against.
The Mountain West, man, there's a lot of weeks where you get some good dudes, and it's just I mean, I've experienced playing the Auburns, so when you play like those bigger guys, but when you play in the Mountain West, you get a lot of hungry guys, and so I've noticed that you get a lot of people with a chip on their shoulder. I mean, we play at like 8:30 at night, so nobody's watching. We're just kind of all just trying to make a name for ourselves somehow, some way. So I think that's what I really noticed a lot from the Mountain West is just a lot of hungry people and just trying to elevate themselves and make a name for themselves.
So, what was your progression up the depth chart look like? Because you came in as a tight end, converted to offensive line. I played center. Well, once again, playing is an over exaggeration. I practiced as a center. But the left tackle to me is the hardest position on the offensive line to play because you miss a block in the middle, you may have another guy to pick him up. But you're out there on the blind side, obviously you mess up, could be catastrophe.
Right.
So what was your progression up and what was your climb up? How did that feel?
Yeah, so right as I got into college, my coach kind of was like, you're going to be a left tackle and you're going to start there. And that's just what you're going to be. So that's kind of a downside and a good side is I've only really played left side. Obviously, like I've worked both sides, but I'm really just been left side dominant. And so when I started off, I was about like the third string left tackle. And just kind of through that freshman year, I kind of worked my way up into like the twos. And I was running with the twos. And I think if a game ever kind of got dicey and I had to go in, I don't think I would be the second tackle to be put in, if that makes sense.
No,
Sure,
it
they
does.
move some pieces around. But he just knew I just needed 1 year of really just kind of learning football. There was so much information that I just did not know about offensive line and then just football in general. Like for the whole first year, this is going to sound crazy, is I didn't know that defenses had gaps. Now, when I found that out halfway through my first year, I was like, man, this is like, I've been missing out on so much. So there was just a lot of stepping stones like that where I just needed to overcome and then just made the game easier.
So you end up deciding to transfer. And I watched your just a shout out real quick. Your brother, what's his name?
George.
Yeah. He has a podcast and much more professional than the monkey show you're on now. But
we're just winging
Gridiron Junkies. Gridiron Junkies, right?
Correct.
So I watched him interview you after you had decided to transfer. And so anybody out there, if you want to look on YouTube, it's on YouTube. If you look that up, you can get the whole story. And it's neat hearing your brother talk about it because he talks about it from the family side of things and everything.
Right.
But just briefly tell about what the decision to transfer. I know that wasn't an easy one for you. And then how it went when you started getting contacted and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So, man, that week kind of leading up into it, it was really hard because I had to decide if I wanted to play in the bowl game or if I wanted to enter in early and kind of give myself some time to make the correct decision. And so it was really hard because I knew I was going to leave all my teammates in San Jose. And at San Jose, it was very much a brotherhood. It was like, you never wanted to quit on them. And I never wanted to quit on them. And, but at the end of the day, I just had to do what was best for myself. And that was just really hard. But yeah.
And now it was hard on your family too, because your brother said they already had tickets to Hawaii.
Yeah, no, they had.
I was going to ask what the bowl game was. It was Hawaii.
Yeah. So that's what also made it like a million times harder was because I was like, all right, I'm thinking about this in my head and like, I didn't want to tell them because I didn't want them to start freaking out And then they're like, yeah, we already bought our tickets to Hawaii. And I'm just like, all right, this is the thing I needed.
It's like, I think he said something, if I remember right. He's like, I followed you around to all these other crappy stadiums. We get a chance to go to Hawaii. And
I was kind of like, dang, that's a free trip to Hawaii and you're there for a week.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it was just like, I just knew that this process was going to be extremely hard, and it was, because you really only got 2 weeks to make a decision, or 2.5. And all these coaches are trying to say, hey, come to our place, check us out. And you have 2 weeks. So you really only get to take like 2 to 3 visits at max.
No, Fernando, all the fans, we love to sit here and gripe about this, about how the bowl games are not bowl games anymore, because you were obviously the starting left tackle for San Jose. They went to a bowl, you didn't play. I went to the Independence Bowl a couple years ago, and I saw KJ Jefferson and our entire second team unit play a game against Kansas.
Right.
Do you think that the NCAA is putting y'all guys in an unfair position by the way they position when the transfer portal comes open against when the bowl games? Because like you said, they put you in a position where you've got to think about number one in team. You're having to pick. Do you think opening that window up later would be the answer? Or I'm just asking here from the players.
There's so many logistics that go into it, because it's like, if we move this back, then the coaches really don't have a time off, because then there's just so many things into it. I think the NCAA could definitely reschedule everything and make it a lot more neater to give us a chance to play in those bowl games and then also transfer. But I think also another thing is just like, when you know you're not playing in a big bowl game, it's like, how much weight does this carry? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
A lot of people go to these bowl games, and a lot of people just treat it like vacations, because you're there for about a week and it's just not taken seriously. I mean, you practice and stuff, but it's just, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people take it for granted instead of seeing it as another 14 practices, if that makes sense.
There's definitely going to be an intensity level difference between a Mountain West Conference game and going to Hawaii and playing whoever y'all were playing.
100%.
It'd be like, no, I'm here in Hawaii and there's a football game going on.
Right. 100%.
Here to win a game. So no.
I think, and like you said, there's a lot of factors there, because you got the semesters of school. I mean, you're still based around education, whether we like to not think so or not. So you got the semesters of school. So you got to make a decision so you can get registered for school, and then you got to move there, find a place to live, all that kind of stuff.
That's another part. That's a great part. I completely spaced that, because a lot of schools go off of quarters, and then some are like semesters. And so like some schools start like extremely early, like early January. And so like it makes it really tough, like you said, because it's like, all right, how are you going to fit this in where he transfers, but he's already missing a month of school? It's so tough. It's so tough.
And in the same breath, a coach may be frustrated because his left tackle's leaving, but he's putting pressure on a kid in the transfer portal to commit right now, because if you don't commit now, I'm going to go to this next guy in the transfer portal.
Right. It's the NCAA. It's a big mess. I think we could all kind of agree on that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, they got it wrong for so many years. It feels like they had to overcorrect, and that's
right.
What we're seeing.
And now we're just trying to find this balance, and it's hard.
Yeah. I'm going to go full get off my lawn if we keep going, so we'll have to change the subject.
Well, tell us about your decision to just decide on Arkansas. Were there other schools involved that you were thinking about, and what made Arkansas, man, this is the place for me?
Yeah, man, there was a lot of schools that stood out, and I think it was just that first interaction with Mateos. It was just so organic and just himself. He met me at my burrito spot in San Jose, and he got my burrito. Nice. And my burrito's a pretty, it's a big burrito. and so it's a lot, I could barely finish it. And Mateos was there, and we're there for about an hour, and he's going away at it. He's eating it. Yeah. He had to stop. But the whole time we just had a great conversation, he ends up finishing the burrito, and he's like bragging about it to me. You know what? I think I could have this guy as my coach. And then I came out here, and just being around Pittman, it was a great time, man. It was an overall tremendous experience. And when you know somewhere is home, you just kind of have to go with your heart. And that's what it felt. And that's what I did.
Now, I
Now-
got to steal a story from your podcast with your brother.
Okay.
Tell the story about Pittman taking you around to the houses.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, this guy, he's a baller, man. He gets in his truck. He's in this super nice truck. We're driving around, and he's like, "You see these houses right here? Let's go check them out." And I'm just like, "All right, I don't know how the heck we're gonna get into these houses." He calls up this lady, and she opens up the house for us. He was like, "Man, you can live right here. It's a beautiful spot. It's right by the place." And he was just like, I'm the head ball coach of Arkansas." And he kept telling me that. And I was just like, you know, man, the dude with this confidence, and he's an offensive line guy. I was just like, I have to be around him every day. I have to.
And the thing is, like, I can imagine him saying that, but I can also see him saying that and not come across cocky.
No,
Because he
100%.
doesn't come across that at all.
No, not at all. It's almost like in like a joking manner.
Yeah.
Whenever he says it, and it's just almost everything he says is just, it's very just uplifting. I don't know. It's really fun to be around him. He's a great dude.
So now it came down between Arkansas and Auburn, I guess, was one of your top
Right.
one, wasn't it? And you decided that during your visit, right?
Yeah, that was extremely hard, but it was funny. I woke up that morning. I knew I was going to leave in like that afternoon range to go to Auburn. And I was going to have my last talk with Pittman. And I'm sitting in Mateos's room. We're just chatting it up. And then one of the girls comes in there that kind of like plans all my travel stuff. And she goes, "Yeah, we already booked all your stuff to Vegas. Like, if you wanted to make the decision to like be an Arkansas Razorback, and we could just send you back off to Vegas right now." And I was just like, I thought I was supposed to go to Auburn, but I was like, I mean, if they do already have it booked, and I already like this place, like I was already just extremely exhausted from the whole process. And I was just like, what am I gonna do? I'm just gonna waste my time. I already heard bad things about Auburn. It just everything lined up so perfectly where I was just, it's like, this is gonna suck telling the coaches I'm not showing up, but I gotta do what I gotta do.
Yeah.
So after that, I became a Hog.
See,
Now-
but to me, that would be like, okay, I can either go to Las Vegas, Nevada, or Auburn, Alabama.
Right.
What to do
Right.
here.
I was like, I knew I was just gonna waste my time for another 2 days. I was like, I could be back home with my friends,
Yeah.
knowing I'm in a way better situation than trying to force myself into a Auburn
Right.
situation.
Yeah.
So Fernando, I don't know. I don't think I told you this, but like literally my favorite vacation spot is Las Vegas, Nevada.
Did not tell me that.
Like I literally I go every single year. I go to Las Vegas.
Okay.
Week. And I rarely go to casinos. I find myself just doing other fun
Ooh.
things. Now, I'm going to tell you my favorite eating spot, and then I'm going to ask you yours, and that way if you can tell me if you've ever been to mine.
Okay.
You ever been to Hash House A Go-Go? It's a breakfast spot. They have just like twisted, like huge breakfast.
I'm pretty sure I have. My dad's a big breakfast guy.
Yeah.
So we've been into every spot in Vegas for breakfast.
Yeah,
It's
like
just
Blueberry Hill's one of my favorite places too.
okay. Yeah, that's a good spot. That's a classic, man. I used to go
Yeah,
there. as a kid
we
all
end
the
up
time.
going to Blueberry Hill. They have I got the red velvet waffle at the Hash House A Go-Go once, and then offensive lineman, we're going to talk food.
Right.
Yeah, I was there, and I got the one night we were just sitting around the black night we were there, and we're like, where do you want to eat? And we all find out, we're like, hey, we go to Hash House A Go-Go again. And like the fourth time we'd ate there that trip. And I got the chicken and waffles, and the waitress goes, is it okay if there's bacon in the waffles? And I thought that's the dumbest question I've ever been asked. Of
That's
course.
the easiest question I've ever heard. Of course.
Yeah. So where's a few of your eating spots at the in Vegas? Where me and Big T coming down, we're eating lunch, we're eating breakfast, we're eating dinner. Where are you taking us?
Okay, so lunch spot, it's like this like hidden gem. Nobody goes there for lunch. It's a steak place, but it's not overpriced. I know in Vegas you say steak, you're just like, but this is a very well priced. You get a really good steak. It's called Echo and Rig. It's outside the strip. It's in like a beautiful like little spot. It doesn't even like look like Vegas. It's like its own little area. And that's my favorite steak place. Now for breakfast, see, man, there's this place called Baby Stacks, and they have these pancakes, and it's like cinnamon. They have something in it. It's like cinnamon and something, and it is some of the best pancakes I've ever had. Baby Stacks, but
Baby
super
Stacks.
always packed. So
I'm gonna have to look into those. I'm gonna go back and watch this, and I'm gonna write them down. I'm gonna
yeah,
look so where am I going for dinner?
for dinner. Oh, now see, this is where you kind of stump me, man. I don't have a good dinner spot because
I don't have a good dinner.
I'm a very plain guy. I'm very picky. So
Right.
if I really could, I would eat Cane's 7 nights a week.
Oh my goodness.
And
Listen, I know my friend's the Reverend, but you're preaching right there. You're talking about Canes. I'm like, bring it. Amen. I love me some Canes.
oh,
yeah.
Absolutely.
never go wrong.
Good
No,
stuff.
no, but I'm like you because we were talking before the podcast. Like I can go have fun in Vegas and never touch the strip.
Right. No, 100%.
So what would you and your boys, you and your high school friends? I mean, obviously me and Travis grew up in Greenbrier, and what we did was we had this area in Conway. We called it the strip. We would
Okay.
drive down to one end of it, turn around, and drive back. And then we would repeat that process
Yeah.
for hours
And play music.
and
real
play
loud.
music and be ignored by girls. And that's what that was what our high school life was like.
Yeah.
So what was I mean, obviously senior year COVID, but junior year, sophomore year, what was growing up in Las Vegas, Nevada like?
Man, a lot of my days, like, it's gonna sound kind of boring. Like, if I were to ever really do anything with my friends, it'd be like going out to eat. But like a lot of my days consisted of kind of school, and then afterwards it'd be basketball practice for high school, and then I'd go to basketball practice for AAU. Like I was determined to be the next Dirk Nowitzki, and it never
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the pancake place too much to be Dirk.
That's right.
That's what I'm saying. It weighed me down. I couldn't dunk. It was all sorts of bad.
Yeah. Well, man, so we already talked about him a little bit, but Mateos was a big part. Just talk about him. You talked about him a little bit as the personal things. He just made connections with you, but talk about him as a line coach, because you had a good coach at San Jose State. So talk about, you've been through spring practice with him.
Right.
Talk about him as a line coach.
Yeah, man, he really lets you be yourself, and he wants you to try a bunch of different things. His whole thing is try a bunch of different things and then find out what you're good at. And I think at San Jose, it was, all right, this one technique, you're going to set vertical, and when we do run, this is how it's going to be, and this is how it's to look. With Mateos, it's completely different. It's like, all right, try a bunch of these different sets, see what you really like, and then on this run, try a bunch of different things, see what works for you, and go with that. And I think just like the freedom is kind of what also drew me here, was because I knew he'd let players play very freely and just kind of see what works for them. And I really enjoyed that. And that's what he'd let me do in spring ball. And so it was a lot of fun.
Now he's got the highest price GA in the business in Coach Pittman.
Right.
So talk about what you've learned maybe from him, as he's, hey, the guy's supposed to be and he's got one of the best to ever do it. So, talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, like you said, man, he's one of the best in the business, and he has the proof to show with the NFL dudes. But what he brings to the practice is, like, we'll split up. Like, half the guards and centers will go with Mateos, and then some of the guys or the tackles will go with Pittman, and then we'll switch off back and forth. But when you're with him, man, he just teaches the game of offensive line so differently. He's big into he says, like, tackling. Treat blocking somebody as like you're tackling them, and it kind of sounds crazy, but when he explains it out there, it hits the brain so well, and improved my game, and it's taken me to a whole nother level because it keeps me low, and it works, and it makes sense why he has had such success with all these players. And I mean, obviously they're good players, but they're being coached the right way, and they're being taught these techniques that I just never really thought of.
Now, I got really bored at work the other day. Don't tell my boss. But so I was looking up an NFL mock draft, and I saw Landon Jackson, projected to go late round one. What's it like practicing against a guy like that every single day? And how much better has, obviously you're only going to go against maybe one or two defensive ends, his talent level all year, and
Right.
you get to go against him every day. What's that doing for you?
It does wonders, man, because you go through your day and like you can't win every single rep. And that was kind of the biggest learning curve of when I got here was like I'm coming from San Jose where I go a day where I go perfect sets, I lock everybody down, and then I get here and Landon's just exposing me. And it's very humbling because from there it's like, all right, now I have to go to the film room and I got to see what I did wrong. And so just going up against him is just such a savvy player, such a relentless player. As an offensive tackle, that was kind of what I was looking for going into the portal. I needed somebody that was going to push me every day at practice, and he pushes me for sure.
Yeah.
So did you ever have one of them days like, man, I'm just not very good at this? Maybe
Oh, there'd be days where
I should see if Cal will let me on the basketball team or something.
I would go back home and I'm just like, I don't even want to watch film right now because he just put on a clinic against me. And so, but at the end of the day, like you have to go back, learn what you did wrong, and try to stop him. And that's what I just try to do each and every day at spring. I'd get beat here and there, and then I'm like, all right, well, now I'm gonna nail that down, and that's not gonna happen again.
Yeah.
We just got each other better.
We love Landon. He's been on the podcast before, and great guy. It was a great interview. And he's like you said, a great talent. But talk about some other guys on that D line that have, kind of, because who's better to review them than a guy that gets to go against them, right? So just tell us about who some of the guys, and maybe some guys that maybe not getting publicity that we need to look out for that may make some noise this year, you think?
All right. Yeah. So I'm going to start off with Cam Ball. That dude, him and Landon, the way that they work together, their twist games are incredible. It's just like a thing of art. Somebody posted it on Twitter a few days ago, but for the first few weeks, that it's unstoppable. The way that they work together, and just kind of Cam's just quickness. Cam's like he looks like this like heavy set dude. He's like pretty jacked, and then you see him running, you're just like, how?
It's that smaller number makes him so quick.
Right, that's what it is. He moves
mistaken for Darren McFadden all the time.
It's
right. So he's going to be a dude that you're going to just hear his name a lot this year. Another dude, I brought up Quincy Rhodes. That kid, he's still young, but I mean, he moves weight, and once he just kind of gets a few more just practice under his belt. Like I don't think he's far away from being a dude. So I think you're definitely going to be hearing his name quite a bit. There's a lot of good dudes on there. We have depth, and I think that's kind of the biggest thing is being a defensive line and being an offensive lineman. You hate a defensive line that has depth because you realize, all right, I'm going to get to past the 50-yard line, and now they're going to bring in a new set of guys, and it's the most demoralizing thing. So that's what excites me is just the depth. You got Kiwi, you got Antoine, who just transferred in from Abilene. I don't know how you say
Abilene,
that.
Abilene Christian, yeah.
Yep. And then there's just dudes. There's just dudes everywhere. And then you got Eric Gregory, like that dude. He's just a savage.
He's the grandpa of the bunch, isn't he?
Right. No, 100%. I went up to him today. I was like, dude, you're old. You're an old guy, man.
He's the get off my lawn guy for y'all, I guess.
100%. He holds
back when I was a freshman.
Yeah, he's the uncle of the group.
Back before COVID.
So now you've got Kudus to your right, correct?
Correct.
Probably penciling in that starting left guard spot. So Kudus has been in the program 2 years. How has he helped you kind of get adjusted to Arkansas? Because I think you're a year older than him, but he's been here for a couple more years. And
yeah, 100%. That's what's kind of like the cool thing is like I'm kind of the old head, but he also is the old head to like Arkansas because he's been here for so long. And so he's just kind of brought me in with open arms, and he's just such a hard worker where he was kind of competing, like he was pushing me to go harder. And just kind of us knowing that we were going to play next to each other we hung out. That's just my guy. When I got here, we just connected right away, and he's just such a good dude. He's true to himself, and it's awesome having him next to me.
Is he as freakishly strong as everybody says he is?
He's insane. We were talking about his squat maxes today because we're like, man, what are we gonna hit for our maxes? We're just talking about it, and like PK's talking about him, probably saying some crazy number, and we're like, what did you do last week? And he like says this number, I can't remember, and I'm like, yeah, he just reps out so much weight, and he makes it look so easy. Like he makes me mad. And I like look over, and I'm just like, dude, you have 5 plates right now on the bar, and you're squatting this like it's 2 plates. Like what's going on?
Gosh.
Because he doesn't look that thick.
That's the thing. He just holds it like I don't even know what it is. I mean, he is young. He's
but
still, but like I don't get where the muscle kind of high.
Well, plus he's tall too, isn't he?
That is true. He is like 6'6".
But I mean, a lot of times 6'6" guys don't squat near as well or don't bench near as well because they're long arm, long leg,
Right.
But
and I mean, mind you, he is getting below parallel. Like this is like he's not leaving any doubt. He is getting below the line.
Yeah.
Man.
Because that was always the worst for us because I hate squatting. If you saw my butt, you'd be like, obviously. Anyway, so and it would always like I'd be like at like a 45. I'd be like I'm nowhere near close to parallel. Like
Right.
that was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Like, no.
I'm already knowing.
Well, man, talk about some of the now also some of the other offensive linemen there. We mentioned Kudus. Y'all had right now the projected is Addison Nichols at center, Joshua Braun at right guard, and Blackstock, Nichols, and then of course you are the transfers in.
Right.
But talk about those other guys on the line. And I mean, do you think that'll probably end up being the offensive line, or you think there could be some changes possibly?
I think that'll probably end up being the offensive line for week 1. God willing, we all stay healthy, during fall camp and these next training sessions. But just the offensive line as a group, man, we're a brotherhood. We go into work now, and like when I first got here, it was so quiet. I never kind of comprehended that. We were just quiet in the locker room. Now you go back there and it's just ruckus. It's just people getting on each other, just having a good time. And so we're really bonding. And then we're having people stepping up, which is really cool. Like Tykees Crawford, he's going to work every day during these training sessions, and he's putting the work. Amari Wiggins, I want to say is his last name. He's been working his tail off. And I really like Marion Harris. That kind of plays behind me, but he's still a young guy, still kind of ish. And I think he's trying to kind of get his feet under himself, and he's going to be a dude when the time comes.
No, I think it's safe to say you probably feel like, at the end of last year, Razorback fans, we'd all felt like, man, the offensive line wasn't it. What we expect out of a Sam Pittman offensive line.
100%.
So you think we're going to leave this year going, that's a Sam Pittman offensive line?
1,000%. And I think a lot of it had to do with the coach previous and just kind of, I don't know. There's just a lot of things just didn't seem to kind of connect last year with the offensive line. And I've always said this in my interviews and people that I talk to, as a good offensive line is a close offensive line. And if you're not, then you're not going to work together. All 5 of you guys on the line have to be together. And if not, then you can't be an individual. You can be an individual wide receiver. Yeah, you can make a big play. You can't be an individual offensive lineman.
Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you,
I agree with you 100% because one of my last trips to Vegas, me and 3 other offensive linemen, we went and hung out. It was weird because we're all in our 40s, so we'd be in bed at 9:30 every night. It was a wild time in Vegas.
Well, and Fernando, and here's the thing I've been telling a lot of people, and I've said on this podcast, and because I don't think the line last year was that weak talent-wise.
No.
I think some people may have been inexperienced, and that caused some of the problems. But my theory is that a lot of it was communication issues.
100%.
And now they didn't come out and say it outright, but in some different in some of the interviews we did with a couple of the offensive linemen, and then also just watching some press conferences and things, I gathered that there was miscommunication amongst the linemen. There's miscommunication from the line to the quarterback, and there was miscommunication with the coaches. And like, would you, I mean, you don't have to go into details because I don't want you throwing anybody on the bus, but would you say that that's that would be a huge thing to get those things right for y'all?
I mean, I can't really come on here and say 100% because I wasn't here. But I think when I came in, there was just a sense of kind of how like being an offensive line works was kind of like thing, like you said, communication. And just kind of during those first few weeks, it was very little communication. And as like we progressed through spring and to now, it's night and day. Like we emphasize it every day, and you just got to talk out there because there's a lot of stuff in this Petrino offense. And if you're not talking, then there's no way you're going to get it down right.
Have you gotten chewed out by Petrino yet?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Good.
I think everybody has, man. But the thing I love most about Petrino is that he keeps the standard, and he doesn't let anybody fall below it. And you got to just love that as a player because you go to work every day and you want to be held to the standard, and he does that.
Yeah, you may have to deal with some ribbons, but you're going to get better.
100%.
Yeah, for sure.
So what was your first impression of Taylon Green? And at what point during spring practice was it like, this is the guy? Because it's one thing to be named the starter. It's another thing to have your peers go, that's the guy.
I think it was even before then, man. Like right as he got in, the way he goes about his work and the way he brings other people with him. It's never just like Taylon going into work by himself. It's Taylon and a wide receiver, Taylon and a tight end. It's always somebody. Like when I first got here, I'd see him with like all these different guys, and he's just building these connections, and he's bringing everybody with him. And so I think just kind of people seeing that, it was just kind of like, okay, this guy is about his work, and we could kind of get behind this. And then spring ball comes around, and he balls out, and he did kind of what we all kind of expected him to do. And yeah, it was just kind of a no-brainer. The way he goes to work and the way he leads, he's the guy.
That's great. And that's great to hear because man, that you got to have a guy like that at quarterback, man. And you need good leadership and someone that communicates well and that the other team is going to look at and say, that's our guy, that's our dude.
Right. It's really cool, man. I can't wait for people to see him this year because he's going to shock a lot of people. And just because of his hard work's going to pay off, and we're all going to benefit from it because he brings us all along. So I can't wait, man. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Now, you did go from a Mountain West school to an SEC school.
Correct.
What was the biggest holy shnikes moment to you when you walked onto Arkansas's campus? Like, we didn't have this at San Jose.
There's been a lot of that. So I'm trying to think of one situation.
Well, you can name two or three. We don't.
Obviously, the facilities. Like, that's just a no-brainer. You walk around, you're just like, we don't have this in the training room. Our practice field does not look like that. We have holes and hills on our practice field, and this is like legit game grass that we're practicing on. So those are a few of the like differences, but I think the biggest one that I noticed was just the coaching staff and the amount of people that are in the building every day. It feels like we have 100 GAs, and it's awesome because as a player, there's so many coaches that could help you out or get you what you need, and just kind of, I don't want to say do the dirty work, but just kind of do the work that's just not looked at.
Now, another guy that came in with you as a transfer that you're going to be blocking for is Jaquindon Jackson. Talk about him a little bit, what it's going to be like blocking for him.
He's a dog, and he was really good at practice. He was amazing during spring ball, but I want to see him in a game because it's going to be even better. His game's all about running through somebody's chest and breaking tackles. And in practice, you really can't do that. It's just kind of a lot of wrapping up. Like, you can kind of see the way he's like hiding his way out of these like little type like wrap ups, but in the game, it's going to be awesome because he's just the way he hits a hole, even during these like little walkthroughs right now. I'm on like defense sometimes as like a middle linebacker being a dummy for the second string. And the way he hits the hole, I'm just like, I wouldn't want to tackle that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited, man. He's going to have a breakout year and he's going to get the respect that he deserves.
How does it make you feel when you see a running back just bow up and run over like a safety or a corner or a linebacker even? What does that make you want to do as a lineman?
I mean, I've seen it a lot with my running back in this past year, but it gets you juiced, man. It makes you just want to hit somebody else too. And you can see him run through him, then you go down to chase down your running back to go help him up. But then at the same time, you're looking at that safety that he just ran over. Like, yeah. So it's definitely an energizer. And then with him, it's like a 1-2 punch with Dub, number
Rashad Dubinion. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
7, I think. Isn't he 7? Did he switch to 7?
He was 6, then I believe he switched to 7.
Something like that.
That dude, them two together, you're gonna get the power of JJ and then the speed and then explosiveness of Dub. It's gonna be a good 1-2.
Dominion's a pretty good all-around guy. You know, as far as like as a running back, he can catch out of the backfield. He can, if you need to run between the tackles, he can run between tackles.
He's a veteran. He's a veteran. He's a savvy player.
He's a guy you can plug in about any position.
100%.
Yeah.
Now, I see your jerseys behind you. Were you 79 at San Jose State?
I was.
And now you're wearing double nickel, I believe.
Correct, indeed.
What made you go with double nickel?
So I get here on my visit and they have the 79 jersey laid out for me. And I talked to Mateo, so I'm like, does somebody already have 79? He's like, yeah. So I'm like, all right. I was like, I don't really want to wear a number that I'm not going to wear when I get here. And he's like, what you think about double nickels? And it kind of took me a while to process them. Double nickels is 55. I was like, that's a tough number for an offensive lineman. I was like, let me check it out. And he was like, we can get you wearing it for the offense or for the visit photos. And so I tried it on for the visit photos. It looked good. And then he was like, you're double nickels now. And I was like, all right, the rest is history.
Yeah, okay. I was wondering. Now, this is always one of my favorite questions to ask everybody, and you're probably gonna have a different answer than anyone we've ever asked because, you were like, which school did you play against that had the best hecklers? And I think it's probably honestly in some, because I'm not trying to insult the Mountain West, but you probably have a few lighter attended games. Than SEC schools. So you probably, if there's a guy just being hilarious, it's probably a little bit easier to hear him.
You hear everything. There was never a game where I went into it and you said I'd be like, what did you say? No, never. You'd hear both sidelines just talking about their days while you were playing your game. Yeah. But the best hecklers, I'd probably say Fresno. Fresno would kind of heckle us. That was our rival. And then San Diego.
If you lived in Fresno, you'd be salty too.
No, it was got there and I'm like, are we in the middle of nowhere? Like, what is this place? So that was one. And then San Diego State, they would get on us. Oh, actually, I forgot. There was one team that was the best, and it was Hawaii. Because our quarterback had just transferred from Hawaii to San Jose. So the entire game, they're just like, Chev, because Chev was the quarterback's name. Chev this, Chev that. Chev, we're coming for you. And it was nonstop. And those polys are scary and they're about it. So they were saying it and they were coming with it.
They still start doing some of those war chants and stuff.
No, literally. It was but definitely Hawaii that was the game where I was like, Jesus, these guys are ruthless.
So was there any schools in the Mountain West that you were just taken aback by, I can't believe the facilities were so nice that you're like, I can't believe this is a Mountain West school?
Who had nice facilities in the Mountain West?
Who had nice facilities, who maybe had the nicest facilities out there?
V, I mean, you're playing at Allegiant Stadium.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's kind of unfair, but
no, I mean, I don't blame you. I'd use that as an out too.
Yeah, no.
So what was it like getting to play in Allegiant Stadium?
Dude, it's
being a Vegas boy, getting to go back to UNLV, playing Allegiant Stadium. I've driven by it like a gajillion times when I've been in Vegas. It is a massive, massive stadium.
It's a big difference when you're coming from playing at Wyoming Stadium and then you go to Allegiant where you're playing, like you said, in this massive stadium. The lights just seem brighter. They just seem brighter there. And but it was an awesome experience. Like you said, being from Vegas, as you're driving in, it was really cool. The bus kind of passed by like the tailgating area, and my family had like a big tailgate set up for me, so I got to see him like right outside the bus as I was pulling.
Nice.
So it was a very emotional game because I also kind of knew that was going to be my last game as San Jose because it was the last game of last season. And so it was special, man. Having
Yeah.
family friends there, and then like you said, playing in Allegiant, like, and then beating a team that I seen growing up as a kid all my life.
Yeah.
They don't want to offer me. It was like the perfect like villain story. It just felt right. It felt right.
No,
Nice.
and it's gonna be nice at the end of the season, because you're going to play at Jerry World this year to compare and contrast
Right.
Dallas and Vegas, the stadiums. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if it's a home game for us or A&M this year, but
Yeah, it might be a little bit different just because the crowd size. But
Yeah.
yeah, it'll be loud for sure.
that's
Yeah.
what I heard. I heard that's one of the louder games of the season. But I'm excited, man. That's
Well, A&M brings quite a few fans. They're crazy. So
Oh, I'm already knowing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, from the central part, for us to Dallas, I mean, I'm in the central part of the state. Perhaps maybe even closer. Takes me
Yeah.
about 6 hours to get to Dallas.
Yeah, it's about 4 for me. Yeah.
So yeah. About
Well, so which game on the schedule? I mean, is it just the first game you're looking forward to? Is there some games that you're like, man, I can't wait till we play this team or that team?
Man, there's obviously those games. Like I've always said I can't wait for Texas.
Mm.
I mean, but like there's like the Tennessee. Everybody hypes up that D end. I really want to go after him, get after him. I'm going to get after him. And there's a few games, but like you said, man, you just kind of have to focus on Pine Bluff, dominate them, and then on to the next.
Now, y'all start off in Little Rock. Have you heard stories about Little Rock? What do
I
you
have
know
heard
about
Little
that?
Rock. I heard it's really hot there, and we're playing at night, so that's kind of a dub.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it definitely is, and that stadium's loud.
It's an old stadium, man, but the fan, what it is a lot of the fans that can't afford to go to Fayetteville a lot of times, like where I'm at down in South Arkansas and places, they go to those Little Rock games. And even though they're, look, Pine Bluff won't be a big draw as far, as far as like it's not a big name SEC team that's playing there or something. But man, we used to play LSU the day after Thanksgiving there every year.
Really?
That was our rivalry game before Missouri.
And we had 2 Miracle on Markhams. He was there for the first one. I was there for the second one.
Yeah. I was there for both, actually. Yeah.
We were there for both. Brandon.
Yeah. But anyway, Markham's the street it's on, and we won like last second games, both 2 games there against LSU. But and you talk about loud, man.
Oh, I can't wait.
Because it's a bowl, so there's no empty spots.
Right.
Like Razorback Stadium gets loud too. Okay, now it gets loud, but you have more people there. You got a max of 50,000 in Little Rock, but it's all in a concrete bowl. It's an old school
one game too. So these fans, I'm sure, are crazy.
And a lot of them, it'll be the only game they can afford to go to because they
set up it's on a golf course, and they set up and people tailgate at the golf course, and they'll be overserved by the time you're getting.
That's right. Yeah.
It'll be.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I want to tell a funny story about that because I kind of just
remember. No, absolutely. Go ahead.
So I'm in Vegas. Addison, he has his 21st. He goes out there to celebrate. So we go out there to celebrate together. And as we're walking down the strip, we've seen a dude passed out drunk. And like I look at his slides, I'm like, man, those slides look kind of familiar. Like I've seen those before. I'm like, oh my God, Addison, these are Razorback slides. This guy's from Arkansas. And we go Arkansas. And mind you, he's passed out drunk on there. He wakes up and he goes, woo pig. I was like, now this is the most craziest story. I was like, go Hogs, man.
Was that you?
It wasn't me.
Okay.
It was not me.
Oh, well.
Not a.
Yeah, that's
I've never passed out on the strip.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, there's Razorback fans everywhere. And talk about how the fans have been since you've gotten here. Talk about that a little bit.
They're tremendous, man. Like you guys are, man. They're just everybody's so caring and just open arms. And I think that's just kind of one of the reasons that attracted me here is when I got here, just I felt the love. And that's all I really can ask for, man. Just a fan base that cares and just wants to see their team win and is passionate. And those are Hogs fans from top to bottom. And it's awesome, man. I can't wait to play for you guys.
Yeah, we're a passionate fan base. We can be a very dumb fan base at times. Okay, I mean, like every one of them, you know. And you got your keyboard warriors.
Well, we've already discussed this. If I was the host of Drive Time Sports, we couldn't take calls.
Hang up on them. Hang up.
I'd be like Jim Rome. More of me, less of you.
That's right. Well, talk about like this is something I was thought about earlier. You're at in San Jose State. Now, of course, it is, smaller school, not, it's not SEC by any means, but talk about how the media attention has been. Have you seen a difference in that, or is it?
Oh yeah.
You hadn't been here long enough to see that.
That first spring practice, like we're like warming up. And like you kind of see like the media like forming from like outside because they don't let them in like right before stretches, for whatever it may be. So I'm like, man, right? It's like kind of like a slow day for media because like at San Jose, you'd have like one or two video guys out there on a good day. And then right after we finish warm-ups, like they blow the whistle, everybody's running to their stations, and boom, all these media people like flooded. I'm just like, what the heck is going on? Like, what is this? Yeah, bro, like this is the norm. You got like reporters on the sideline. So you're like trying to run drill to drill, and then you're like running into like reporters. It's like, so it's a lot different. There's a lot of people that are trying to cover the Hogs, which is sick. It's awesome.
And our media people were excited to have, they haven't had practices as open as they were this year.
Really?
Yeah. In the past, Pittman was a little more closed on it.
Oh.
And so they would only get like the stretching time, and that was it. Or like,
really, that's
or like the first like 5 or 10 minutes, and then they'd kick them out. And so they were.
Yeah, that's also another thing too, which is like they have like a time slot that they have to be there. Back in San Jose, like if you really wanted to, you could have your mom kind of come in and just watch practice, and neighbor kind of stop by. Anybody watch practice because nobody really cared.
We got a bunch of Bill Belichick's in this league, man. They'll film,
right.
They'll film practice and send it over to a grad assistant.
Careful.
Yeah. Well, man, what's your major?
So I'm studying interdisciplinary studies. When I transferred over from San Jose, it was I was in a spot between where I was doing like a minor and a major, and this kind of just combined them all together. So it's journalism, comms, and African American studies. So it's just kind of all into one, and kind of.
Of course, after, let's say long after football's done, you're old like us. What do you want to be doing then?
Man, hopefully something. I want to work with my brother, kind of in that podcast industry, kind of being behind the camera, hopefully in front of the camera. That's the dream. But, that's kind of where I'd really want to go. If not, just follow that journalism route. Talk sports, just kind of stay in the sports world, man. I've also thought about coaching. That's definitely crossed the mind a little bit, but it's kind of a scary topic to talk about. It's scary because it's coming up. I know it's coming up.
Well, you got some time to think about it, and hopefully you got a long time to think about it. Let's get you a couple good seasons in here at Arkansas, and then we'll.
I give Travis a hard time every time he asks that question because baseball players are the worst. He'd be like, "What are you going to do after you get done playing ball?" And they're like, "What?"
I'm going to be done playing ball.
Like what?
It feels like it never ends.
Yeah.
Like, son, one day you'll be 47 and balding. It's not going to be.
Hey, any good eating places in Fayetteville you found so far? Anything? Wright's Barbecue, you tried it out?
Canes, obviously. We talked about.
I got a shot on my Wright's Barbecue. They hold it down for the offensive line.
That's right.
They help support us. Trying to think. I just had a really good place. Oh, where was it at?
Have you
Man,
been to the Catfish Hole yet?
that was actually the first place I stopped when I got here. My dad watched a bunch of YouTube videos. He was like, "We have to go to Catfish Hole." I mean, it was a solid place. I had my first hush puppies there. I've never had those before.
Yeah.
We're solid. It's a solid spot. It's just I feel like it's a classic. You kind of have to go there.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you're going to play in Arkansas, you've got to eat at the Catfish Hole at least.
Right.
once.
Funny story. When I was a little kid, tell you how smart of a kid I was. The first time I had hush puppies, I was about 4 years old, 5 years old, and I was eating them, like pounding them back, And I asked my mom, I said, "What are these?" She said, "They're hush puppies." I said, "You cook puppies?" And ran.
What is the hush puppy? I still don't really know what it is.
It's like cornbread, but it's like deep fried cornbread kind of.
Okay.
But a lot of times they'll put like some jalapeno in it or something like that to kind
A
of
lot of people mix beer in
spice
with
it up. Yeah. I
Okay,
mean, they do some different things to kind of, but it's pretty much just like cornmeal, kind of a, but
I
they're
usually
good
tell my
stuff.
mom if we're doing a fish fry to make the hush puppies and I'll fry them.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how I make them. I tell my mom make them and I'll fry them.
That's right.
That's how it's done.
Well, man, we're looking forward to a great season, and we're looking forward to rooting you on and rooting on the offensive line. We like what we're hearing, about the way the line's communicating and building that bond. That's a good thing for sure.
Yeah, pleasure for having me on, man. I can't wait to make you guys proud to be Hog fans and just kind of keep this relationship. And
yeah, man, we'll love to have you on again. And by the way, the communication deal, I think that's a good route for you, man. You're definitely got the gift of being able to talk well and follow kind of the line of everything. You've answered all the questions. Awesome. So good job there. Enjoy it, man. Breathe
Yeah,
deep.
well, it seems like every
enjoy the
time we
moment.
bring one of you guys on, we're like, okay, this is the best interview we have. And
Yeah,
it just,
I appreciate
man,
that.
you knocked it out the park, my
That's
friend.
right.
Thank you so much for coming on.
That's
I mean,
love.
we kept you for a little bit over an hour, and it feels like we've been talking for 10 minutes.
No, literally, it feels like we're best friends now.
That's right.
Yeah, 100%.
Hey, I will stop recording here in just a minute, but stay on. We'll talk to you some more after that. Okay. But seriously, man, enjoy the moments, get out, walk out there in Little Rock, that first game, breathe in and say, I'm in the SEC, baby. And then
100%.
knock them
Gotta
golden
wake up.
lines for a loop that first game and get a break by halftime so the backups can play for that one. Okay?
Amen. Amen.
All right. Hey, man, we appreciate you big time. Shout out your brother's podcast, Gridiron Junkies. Okay. Does he do like a weekly? How does he do that?
Yeah, so he's kind of slowed down because it's not really like football season. But once football season comes back up, I think it's gonna be kind of a weekly type thing.
So is that what he does mostly? Is just football stuff?
Yeah, he does football, and then as his job, he just kind of engineers a bunch of shows. And yeah.
Okay, good. Well, cool deal, man. And of course, we always we talked about, we got a group of high school buddies. One of them's from Hometown Roofing, and he helps us out a lot. And so call Robert if you need. They've been working up in Northwest Arkansas, getting some roofs on some of those houses that got destroyed destroyed and torn apart a little bit in the storms. And so they've been up there working a lot. So hey, if you need some help, call Hometown Roofing. They will hook you up.
I even had the number looked up because I knew
You
you were
did already? Go ahead.
he's always like, Clint, do you have the number? And I'm like, nope. Thank you for sponsoring us, Robert. I don't have your number. No, 501-581-7235. Ask for the Stinky Bee special.
That's right. hrroofer.com, right?
Yeah, hrroofer.com. No, great guys, honest. If your roof needs to be replaced or it doesn't, either way, they'll tell you the truth.
That's right.
So,
Fernando, man, appreciate you, brother. Stay on. We'll talk to you for just a minute. But folks, have a great week. Like, share, comment. If you've watched to now, this is a great interview. Other Hog fans need to hear about this guy. So get his name out there because he needs some more NIL money. So he needs
big.
Okay. So he won't say it, but I'll say it for him. Okay. So get his name out there because he's going to be doing big things. And listen, if you hadn't seen the highlight videos of some of the things he did to some of those poor Mountain West defenders, boy's got a mean streak. Go watch them. All right. You think think Dan Skipper, his mean streak, this guy's got that kind of mean streak in him. All right. Have a great day. Be blessed.
Sweat, work, filthy, dirt, harvest, hurt, kingdom come. Sweat, work, filthy, dirt, harvest, hurt, kingdom come. Listen, that's why I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no harvest till I hurt. Crying your kingdom come. Listen, I wake up in the morning, I bow my head to pray. Mama told me if I don't, ain't nothing gonna change.